Today I'll be counting down the top 10 coaster manufacturers in my opinion. I'll be telling you how I judge them and why I put them in their spots.
I'm OG, y'all new to the game.
Alright guys, welcome back to another countdown. If you're new here and roller coasters are what you're into, then please consider subscribing for content all about roller coasters. So today I'll be counting down the top 10 coaster manufacturers in my opinion. This was actually a really hard list to make because there are so many manufacturers that I wanted to include, but they couldn't make the cut. To determine which manufacturer is the best, I look at a lot of stuff. I look at their past, their present, their future, if their track type is smooth, are they reliable, are they cheap, and a bunch of other stuff. You're probably noticing that this is a new style of countdowns that I've never done before, but a lot of people do this style. I'm not stopping POV countdowns, I'll do both depending on what the list is about. Also, let me know down in the comments which manufacturer you like the best. So a few honorable mentions before I start this list off. First honorable mention is S&S. S&S makes some really good rides like Do de Dompa, the El Locos, I guess Gale Force since it got the retracking, and also the new Steel Curtain coming to Kennywood in 2019. This company seems to do a lot of different things, and they have a huge variety in their collection. But recently, they're becoming pretty unreliable. Their two most recent coasters, which are Gale Force and Merlin's Mayhem, both opened a year late, and Gale Force developed a strong rattle in its first year of operation. But Gale Force I heard is good now, and Do de Dompa looks insane. Next we have Premier Rides. This might come as an unpopular opinion, but Premier has made some awesome roller coasters like the Mr. Freeze clones, Full Throttle, and I hear the Skyrocket 2s, even though they're cloned a lot, they're really good rides. Only thing is that Premier seems to not really step up their game very much. Full Throttle is probably their biggest project yet, and it seems really cool on paper, but I heard there's no airtime on the top hat, the launch is okay, and it ends on the drop. If Premier steps up their game and makes bigger and better rides, then they would be on this list. And our last honorable mention is Vekoma. If Vekoma hasn't stepped up their game like what they are now, they wouldn't even be an honorable mention. But Vekoma has probably the best future out of any manufacturer. They're cheap, I think they're pretty reliable, they're very flexible, but most Vekomas are known to be bad rides. Like the Boomerangs, which you can find everywhere, the SLCs, which are known to be the worst coasters in the world. Some custom loopers they made are pretty bad, but some got retracking and new trains. But Vekoma now is very different from Vekoma in the past. They are all of the stuff I said before, except now they actually make amazing rides. Let Coaster for me is top 25 in the world. That thing looks insane. They also have some insane-looking launch coaster concepts like the Shockwave, Firestorm, and Top Gun models. If Vekoma builds more of these cool new models in Europe, Asia, and even US, they would definitely be on this list. Now let's get into the actual list. Number 10, I have CCI. This company is now defunct, and I was very tempted to switch CCI with Vekoma, but just looking at their notable rides, they have much more notable and probably world-class rides than Vekoma. You may know this company for making Boulder Dash, Shivering Timbers, Ghost Rider, Raven, Legend, the Silverwood Woodies. This company has made some really good and notable roller coasters. Their coasters seem to focus on strong laterals and cool drops. However, a lot of their coasters are starting to become rough, and a lot of them need retracking. But if a CCI was to be retracked, then it would be an insane ride. Take Ghost Rider, for example. At number 9, I have Aerodynamics. This company is also now defunct, and they have impacted the coaster industry. They've invented the first modern steel coaster, the first modern coaster to go upside down, the first mine train, the first log flume, the first hypercoaster. The list goes on. Without Aero, we wouldn't have amazing steel coasters like what we have today. Despite all that, a lot of Aeros are known to be bad rides, like their custom loopers. Take Ninja, Anaconda, Carolina Cyclone, Viper, for example. These rides are known to be very rough and give you nasty headbanging. But they also made some really good rides like X2, Tennessee Tornado, and actually smooth Aero Looper. I heard Pepsi Mac's big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach is a really fun ride. Magnum, which I heard being rough, has a pretty insane airtime towards the end. This list goes on. This company has left such a legacy, and the coaster industry would be very different if it wasn't for them. Coming in at number 8 is Schwarzkopf, and they made some awesome roller coasters. You may know them for making coasters like the New Revolution, the first modern coaster to feature a vertical loop. They also made Super Duper Looper, Mindbender, Shockwave, Silver Bullet at Frontier City, Montezuma's Revenge, the first flywheel launch coaster, and Scorpion, as well as much more. Their rides are known to be very forceful, especially with their vertical loops. Their vertical loops are known to have a circle shape instead of a teardrop shape, like what you get on most modern vertical loops. I heard Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas features the most G-force on a roller coaster in North America. And since these coasters have lap bars, they're also enjoyable rides. Having ridden Montezuma's Revenge, I think it was a little rough, but the vertical loop was very intense. It's sad that this company is also defunct because they have made some really good rides. I am definitely a fan of Schwarzkopf. And at number 7, I have the Gravity Group. This might also come as an unpopular opinion. Some people would argue that Gravity Group and CCI should be grouped, no pun intended, together because most of the CCI designers went to the Gravity Group. However, I kept them apart because I can see a big difference between CCIs and Gravity Groups. Their best rides look absolutely insane, like Voyage, Ravine Flyer 2, Hades 360, even Little Switchback looks like a really good ride. And also there's Cuchulainn up in Ireland. Their Timberliner trains seem really comfortable and they seem to innovate. They invented the first modern Woody to go upside down, which is Hades 360. Also, they made Switchback, the first and currently only wooden boomerang coaster. This company is capable of making really awesome rides in very small footprints. Look at Mindblower, Switchback again, Twister. This might not seem like an unpopular opinion, but what I put above this manufacturer is what makes this unpopular. At number 6, this might be a big shocker. That is GCI. There are certain reasons why I put GCI over Gravity Group, but honestly these two can be interchangeable. What I've heard from some experiences, Gravity Groups can get rougher than GCIs. Let's take White Lightning and Mindblower for example. White Lightning is a GCI that opened in 2013, and Mindblower is a Gravity Group that opened in 2017. They are both at Fun Spot Parks in Florida. I've heard that the GCI that opened in 2013 actually runs smoother than the Gravity Group that opened in 2017. Also, I love GCI's cool shaping on their bank turns, where you get a pop of airtime before going into a turn. Their greatest roller coasters are also very well known. You got Mystic Timbers, Renegade, Gold Striker, Thunderhead, Wood Coaster, Troy, Voden. This company makes some really awesome and also smooth rides. They aren't only known for making coasters, they're also known for retracking old wooden coasters and making them good as they should be. Their most famous retrack being Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. This company can make really good woodies and I'm definitely a fan of GCI. At number 5, I have Gerstlauer. This company makes some very interesting coasters, and they also made record-breaking coasters. You got the Smiler at Alton Towers, the most inversions on any roller coaster. They also made Takabisha, the world's steepest coaster, which will have a steeper clone coming in 2019 to America. And their best rides are really good, like the Schwartz Carnon, Hangtime, Monster, Caracho, Junker, and the Hydrus clones. But they're most known for their Eurofighter models. I'm talking about those small and compact coasters with the vertical lift and a beyond vertical drop. Only thing is that some of their old coasters can get pretty rough. I heard coasters like Saw the Ride and Mystery Mine and even Smiler are pretty rough. But if Gerstlauer never made their Infinity Coaster model, which most of their really good coasters are, then they would be much lower. But I can imagine that in a few years, this company could become one of the best manufacturers out there. Coming in at number 4 is a little unpopular. This is B&M. This company is known to make really smooth and reliable rides. They also have a lot of variety in their collection. They have the Hyper Coaster, Giga, Invert, Dive Coaster, Wing Coaster, and a lot more. Their most notable rides are Fury 325, Thunderbird, Nemesis, Shambhala, even Valraven is pretty popular. You also got Kumba, Banshee, and a lot more. Although I heard they're pretty expensive, you can get a really good ride from B&M. The only things really that are keeping this company down is that their more recent rides are pretty forceless, like a lot of their dive coasters, wing coasters, and their hypers. And also I'm noticing a little decline in the number of rides B&M is creating each year. A lot of B&M's newest rides are coming out in China. But if they make more forceful layouts, then they would be higher. Okay, just to warn you, number 3 and 2 were very hard to decide because both manufacturers are excellent. Honestly, these two manufacturers can be interchangeable, but here's how I rank them. At number 3, I have Mack Rides. This company has stepped up their game big time, coming out with more awesome roller coasters each year. You may know them for making rides like DC Rivals, Flash, Helix, Time Traveler, Lost Gravity, and much more. The restraint system on most of their big coasters looks very comfortable, and it's better than having over-the-shoulder restraints. This company is also known to keep on innovating. They've invented the first double-launch spinning coaster with the most inversions on a spinning coaster in 2018. They also made the Big Dipper, which seems very fun, and they also made the Power Splash, which is a launched shuttle water coaster. This company's rides also appeal to a very large audience. Take Helix, for example. That ride appeals to thrill seekers with lots of inversions and 2 launches. But it also appeals to families because it's not too intense. You take a ride like I-305, that ride is super intense, but I heard it gets a short line because it's too intense for most people. Also, I'm noticing that Mack's more recent designs like Icon and DC Rivals have very Intamin-like layouts with a lot of twists and nice airtime. But we'll get to Intamin later. But if Mack can make more rides like what they have so far and keep on innovating, then they very well could be the best manufacturer out there. Coming in at number 2 is Intamin. I was very tempted to put Mack rides above Intamin, but just looking at their legacy, they've made a ton of world-class roller coasters. There are so many. You got Intimidator 305, Expedition G-Force, the new Hyperion at Energylandia. You also got Skyrush, Superman the Ride, Millennium Force, Terran, Maverick, El Toro, T-Express. The list goes on. Intamin has created some of the best rides out there. Intamin is known to push the boundaries of what roller coasters can do. They've made the world's tallest coaster, King Dakar, the world's fastest coaster, Formula Rossa. Their designs are also very intense, and that's why Intamin is loved by coaster enthusiasts. Intimidator 305's first turn is known to make you gray out or even black out. There are some things that are keeping Intamin from being number 1. A lot of the rides are very unreliable. Top Thrill Dragster gets the nickname Top Thrill Downtime because of how much it's down throughout the day. They also have problems with some of their rides. I-305's first turn was known to be too intense, so they had to reprofile the turn to make it more spread out and add trim brakes. Maverick was originally going to have a third inversion, which was a heartline roll, but that was putting a lot of stress on the track, so they had to remove it and put an S-curve. You also have the Skyrush restraint problem, where the restraints are known to dig into your thighs. For those reasons, Intamin hasn't made a huge ride in North America since 2012, which was Skyrush. They are making some amazing rides over in Europe and Asia, with new rides like Hyperion, Flying Aces, Terran, Red Force, Soaring with Dragon, and Coaster Through the Clouds. And I hope the new Harry Potter coaster will be a chance for Intamin to make more thrill coasters in the US. But number 1 is RMC. This company is mostly known for taking old wooden coasters that aren't very popular, stripping the wooden track, and replacing it with steel iBox track. All of RMC's creations are world-class and are very insane rides. You got Steel Vengeance, Lightning Rod, Wildfire, Wicked Cyclone, Iron Rattler, Twisted Timbers, Medusa Steel Coaster. Every single one of RMC's creations are smooth and very crazy rides. They've also innovated a lot. Outlaw Run is the first wooden coaster to go upside down 3 times, and also Lightning Rod is the world's first launched wooden coaster. In 2018, RMC built their first Raptor coasters. These are coasters that utilize one single rail and have one across seating. They've also broke the record of most airtime on a roller coaster with Steel Vengeance. They also innovated new kinds of crazy elements like off-axis hills, zero-G stalls, and wave turns. Their rides are also pretty reliable with the exception of the 3 biggest ones, of course. But RMC has made some really kick-butt rides, and I'm sure they'll continue to do amazing stuff in the future. But I want to know, what are your favorite manufacturers? Comment down below which manufacturer is the best. I love reading you guys' comments, and if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.